Hi everyone, I am Andra Annette and I am here with my fabulous co-host CJ.C. Boyd, and we are real life of the entrepreneurs, telling you the real truth. So today we decided that we're going to talk a little bit about energy, where we're spending our energy in business and in life, because it makes a difference in how productive you are. So I just really want to tell you real quick. I worked with a gentleman by the name of Evan Pagan, right? Because as a nurse, I always tell people what you have to do. And I said, maybe if I'm going to consult, I should step back a little and understand and listen better. And so I worked with him and I loved him. And he talked about this butterfly effect where we're here and we're here and we're here, and we're not focusing on where we are right now. And a lot of what I do is telling people to get back into their body, being present, right? So I see that there's such a shift in energy levels in the market right now, with everybody trying to sell their products, everybody focused on, what's Mary Jo and Bobby Sue are doing, instead of really focusing on what they're trying to accomplish in their own life and their own business, right? And I think it's a very negative consequence that we're going to pay. I see the effects it's having on the human body, but I think that we're not as productive as business owners, as people, whether it's in our relationships or friendships, if we're having a conversation like we are now, and in the back of our mind, we're thinking about all these things that we have to get to, then we're not enjoying the space we're in now. So in business, they have this 80-20 rule, like 20% of your efforts should produce 80% of your profits. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but if you focus, because in nutrition it's 80% of 80-20, right? So I might be saying it backwards or misunderstood it, but I think that if you are really focusing 20% of your efforts into really what you want to accomplish, then it will have a much bigger effect, because out of that 100% of the day, we're not spending 20% on anything. We're really all over the place, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are it's in my business too, it's the 80-20 where they say 80% is mindset, 20% is the strategies, the thing, the programs, the rules, the solution, whatever. But for me, it's being intentional that 80% of my time I need to be intentional about being in this present moment right now. I have to be intentional about my energy, like knowing exactly what I want to accomplish. So when I am in that 20% of my time where I'm working, I'm really intentional and diligent and doing the things that are going to move my business forward. But like you said, I think, most of the times we're in our head and we're like, oh my God, I'm having this meeting, but I'm thinking I have, 5 meetings later on and I have this launch coming up and I have all these things, where in reality, sometimes I have to check myself and I have to just be like, okay, you're walking away from your computer, you're going outside, you're getting barefoot, you're just going to sit in the grass and just, come home to yourself. And I think that's a lot of reasons why stuff goes wrong, like in my body, when I forget to take care of myself and I keep thinking about, oh, but so and so is doing this, maybe I should try that, or so and so's on this platform, I need to look at that. When in reality, we need to just really in integrity with our values and our morals and what it is we want to accomplish. And I think for a lot of people, they don't even know what that is. They are going on this pattern of so and so told me this is what I should want based upon some test I took in the seventh grade. I should go in this pattern and this path. When in reality, sometimes I think we just need to dial it back and sit with ourselves and go, okay, what is it that I really want? Because most people my age, your age, cannot even answer that for themselves. They're doing what they think everybody wants them to do. They're trying to meet some unwritten rule or expectation of what they should be doing, when in reality, they're not really honing in on what they want to do, what makes them happy, what brings them joy, what brings them excitement. And I think we're just racing through life going, oh, I need to get to the next thing, when in reality, we're going to get to the next thing. And number one, it's not going to be good enough. We're going to not even celebrate it. And we're going to start looking for the next thing that's out there on the horizon. When in reality, we've wasted decades of our lives trying to do the thing that we think is we're supposed to want, when in reality we could have missed that joy and that excitement and that time with family and friends and all the things that would have really propelled and catapulted our business so much further had we just came back to ourselves and really looked at that energy that we're expending in the first place.
I agree. I've been taking a lot more control over my time. Um, when you're online, you have a million people telling you about these, webinars and all these things. And
Yeah,
it's not that I don't think that they would be helpful, but they wouldn't be helpful for me at this time. When you're in one place in your business and that's not where you're moving to, I think you have to say, okay, this is not what I'm looking to accomplish right now. So right now, this is what I need. Let me focus on this. So sometimes people take that the wrong way, like and think that you think that you're like better than them or so. I don't think that what you have to offer isn't, maybe it's fantastic for other people, but I'm not there in this moment, right? I've done webinars before, and I don't think sitting through another one where someone's going to try and sell me how I should do a webinar is really going to move the needle in my business or in my life. If I could be spending that hour with my husband having dinner or out with my dog, I choose to do that, right? So, but I find that a lot of people are very good at telling you what they think you need. And
exactly.
at 58 years old, I kind of, here you go, talk to this because I'm not listening anymore. And I kind of shut them down. So, what happens is my inbox becomes a hot mess, and then, I just kind of like go through it and delete stuff like on a regular basis. But I think that, I think that Americans on a whole are really diminishing their capacity in life. I think that, evolution happens every so often and that, you know, it brings good things, but it brings a lot of bad too, because we forget those basics that we really do need in everyday life. There's so many quick fixes that are available.
Yeah,
I always say there's no pill that's going to help you lose weight. Well, now they're selling hundreds of them, but I know that these people are looking at a lifetime of being on that pill unless they learn the process, right? So they're not trading time for money. Actually, it's going to cost them a lot more time and a lot more money to really figure it out for themselves, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Because they chose to go the short distance. So, and a lot of people do that in business. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, I don't have that. I don't have that." I was guilty of that too. I remember telling you that, probably on this show, that I said, well, if one tool is good, then I need to know them all. But I didn't really get to appreciate the efficacy of each tool because I was spending a little time in this, a little time in this, and a little time in that. Where if I would have focused on one tool at a time, I would have learned it, mastered it, and been able to use it, and probably wouldn't have gone on paying for the others,
right.
right? Or needed them. I would have said, well, this tool is just not an all-in-one. Maybe I need to go over here. But so it's a process, and I think that we have to go through it, to grow. But I think we have to listen. I did a post today about collaboration. There's a lot of people. I have a lot of people on my shows, right? Um, a lot of these people have shows, right? So, um, but I don't see a lot of people reaching out to me and say, "Hey, Anja, I'd love for you to be on my show," right? And I don't. And my friend says to me, "Anja, how come you don't speak more?" I said, "Well, the offers aren't always there. And I reach out to people. Um, there were two digestive health, so we have a lot in common. Why wouldn't we speak? Because it's a subject that we should both be passionate about, but." They talk to me and they're like, "Oh, okay, this is great. Let's schedule it." And they don't show. And I'm like, what's going on with that? So I did a post today about women supporting women who really don't support women, that are really only looking for their own ulterior motives. And I find that sad because that does fall into that 80-20. If you're spending 80% of your time competing, then you're missing out on a lot of strong allies and collaborations because we're all different pieces in this world, right? And each one of us is a very important piece. So holding on to your knowledge and not sharing it, you couldn't give away all your knowledge if you started right now. And I couldn't give away all my knowledge if I started right now. But maybe it might be that little thing that somebody needs to finally say, oh, I get it now. And it might help them. Maybe they don't need our help at all.
Right.
Maybe they can figure it out for themselves. But people are holding on to information in an information age, which makes no sense. Don't tell them the how. They might
Right.
not need you. If somebody can figure it out on their own, by all means, let them, you know? Because we
And I,
are here to serve first, and 80% of the time should be that. And I find that you see people helping 20% of the time and 80% of the time trying to help them. So that 80-20, no matter how you flip it, it could either work with you or very against you. What are your thoughts?
I agree. And I think, like you said, a lot of people are like, I know I have the magic golden ticket. I'm going to hold it and keep it for myself. What is that serving you? You're doing a disservice to you because your purpose here on earth isn't to hold what you've been given, your knowledge, and keep it to yourself. And like you said, you may say something in a way that it triggers something in my brain where somebody else has been saying the same thing and it didn't land because your voice is unique and the way that you say it and your energy is different and unique. So it might help me in a way that I didn't know that I needed, where there's so many people trying to say the same thing in the online space, and it's like it sort of just falls on deaf ears. But there's certain things about people with their energy, when you let go of that thing that's holding you back and you're like cocooning yourself in the energy and you just let that energy out, people feel that. That's what we need. And I think when we're so focused on competing with everybody else, we're not living our purpose, we're not living the life that we were given to experience anything. So we're doing ourselves a disservice. And I think it's just like a total waste of time and energy. We're putting our energy in the wrong things because we've been told all through school, oh, you have to work to be number one. You have to, get, if you want to get this scholarship, you have to beat out 15 people. No, I mean, you gotta work together. And you and I both know the whole collaborating with people, teaming up with people who are experts in different areas and different fields is like the best way that you can showcase other women's talents. And I think we need to get back to that more, where we're like women helping women empowering women, instead of like comparing ourselves to one another. Because like you said, we're each an intricate piece of that puzzle and we're all needed to make that beautiful masterpiece that's life. And if you're going to hold yourself hostage and not share your knowledge, or you're going to try and dim the light of somebody else, then you should not be in the space that you're in, is my opinion.
It's not even just about dimming the lights. It's like if you look at the world, there are different elements, right? There's, earth. There's water, air. There's different elements. I'm probably not explaining this right because I didn't have my coffee today, but but there's different elements, and each of those elements combined create our beautiful world, right? So if we're talking about minerals, if we're talking about energy, there's different elements to that. If we're talking about the law of attraction, there's different elements to the law of attraction, right? And reciprocity. I always mess up that word.
Reciprocity.
I always mess up that word. So, there's different elements to everything. So if we're all pieces of that grand puzzle and we're just staying isolated, then we're missing a very important part of the piece. Like I met with this lady, Miss Sennett, right? Marie Sennett. She's on Facebook and she teaches yoga to women over 50. Women over 50 are part of my demographics, but she's teaching something I don't. And she wants to help them have a great retirement. by getting back into their body and stuff. But I don't teach yoga,
Right.
but she's based on the same principles of what I'm doing in nutrition. So why not highlight her? You
Yeah.
know, I had such a good time just talking to her. I could feel that positivity and that energy. And some people might prefer that energy and get up and move for that exercise over nutrition. So whatever gets them to where they need to go, why not?
Right. I think a lot of people have I'm the only way out, that one size fits all. Everybody needs that one thing, when in reality, no, we need the whole package. I mean, health and wellness is an entire package. It's mindset,
Correct.
it's nutrition, it's moving your body, it's doing all the things. It's, people honing in on this one thing. Oh, I need to, everybody needs to come to me. Everybody needs to do what I'm doing. I know exactly what everybody needs, when in reality, no, that's what makes us all amazing, because we're all unique and we all need to hear things or see things in a different way. We're all, different types of learners, visual versus reading or whatever, immersing yourself in it. And we need to get back to the whole, it's not just one thing. It's
It's different modalities of I'm on Threads and there was a woman talking about calorie deficit and sleep being the most important or whatever, and that people need to have a calorie deficit. She was making fun of someone almost because they did 10,000 steps, right? And saying you need to hit 15,000 steps at least to burn. And I commented, that's absolutely not true. Everybody has a different BMI and they have different energy levels. There's different things going on in everybody's body. So someone who's never been doing any exercise certainly doesn't need to start doing 15,000 steps a day. Get them up and moving something, right? Some energy is better than none. But then she said that she was talking about calorie deficit and you need calorie deficit to lose weight. And I said, well, that's not true either. I said, everybody talks about calories in, calories out. I said, but it's really not. I said, because I was never in calorie deficit when I lost the weight. That would work against my thyroid. So I had to take that into consideration, where even though people say you need to decrease your calories, I found that with me, that made me blow up because my thyroid hormones slowed down and I was trying to boost the metabolism, right? So I said, well, that doesn't make sense. So let me see if I could eat more and force my body to work. And that's what worked for me. I don't recommend that for everybody, but
right.
everybody's different. So it's like learning these different stories and hearing what different people tried that we can kind of formulate our own plan and what might work for us, right? So I think we need to share more of that knowledge. I think we need to stop holding on to 80 to sell that 20, right? I think we need to focus at least 20% of the time and be at least 80% value to even expect 20% of a sale or a turnaround or an ROI or whatever they're calling it in business these days. But I
Right.
think, it all comes back to that heart centered we talk about, right? Um, because 80% of the people in my inbox are trying to sell me something,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, we've gone away from that providing value. Like you and I've even had this conversation where you're giving away, giving away, giving away, giving away, giving away, and people are like, you can't do that. You're not going to make any money. You're here to give value. That's how you build the know, like, and trust. If you're sliming in somebody's inbox trying to sell them something without ever having a conversation and telling them that you know what they need to grow and expand them, nobody's going to do anything with you unless it's out of sheer desperation and they're like, okay, last ditch effort. I'm going to try this thing. I'm going to spend my last $100 and pray to God that this is what's going to work. No, you need to be of value to people and show them, immerse them in that energy that you have, knowing that you have an opportunity to help them. But it's not, you don't go into that conversation with, gosh, I hope this turns into a great relationship and eventually they buy from me. That's not how I go into a conversation. I generally want to know about you, what you want, and how I can help support that and hold space for that.
I remember having a conversation, and then I really do have to get into that 20% of my work. I remember having a conversation with someone, who told me that I had too much information out there, right? And that I should close down some of these communities that I had opened up, right? Um, get rid of those people. And I said, well, why would I do that? He said, well, have they bought anything from you? I said, no. I said, but they haven't left either, which means they have some connection to me in some way. And maybe I just haven't said what they're waiting to hear yet.
Right.
And maybe they know I can help or they just don't know how. I said, but the truth of the matter is 75 to 80% of the people that are your followers, that are in your groups, will never buy from you.
I mean,
Not
think
today,
about
not today, but they might. So you have some people. I had someone in my group that was in one of my groups for 3 years, and I mentioned the product and she bought it right away. And I
right,
was like, that's odd, right? So because she never indicated anything, I just thought she was there as a friend supporting me. And then she purchased this product and said, hey, I really need your help with this. And I was like, okay.
yeah,
But you never know when it touches or when they're ready, because people seem to think that the journey is about us. We're not on their side. It's when they're ready, when we hit that note that they need to sing to, right? So there's always going to be people in your thing, but I would never suggest getting rid of followers. That's like saying, okay, I no longer need this, this, and this, and because they all have value. And those people, there are people that always sit in the community and just listen. And then you have those talkers. Like in my communities, the same people always talking and the other people are just listening. Maybe they're introverts, but that doesn't mean they don't need the help or you dismiss them because they're not raising their
right,
hands, right?
right,
So that's I wanted to make that clear. Like everybody has value, whether they're buying from you or not. You don't just dismiss them.
no.
All right. So any last words?
I just think it's so important, like you said, that any Facebook group that I've ever been in, like you said, there's the people who are always talking and tooting their own horn and trying to get you to buy, and then there's the people that are sitting back and you know in the corner watching everything go, and then it's going to be that one thing that you say or that one piece of value that you it tweaks something in them that they're like, oh, I can do that, or oh, I could really use that. And never prejudge anybody, because unless you've had a conversation directly with them, you don't know what they need. So continue to provide the value in the idea that maybe something that you say today is going to trigger something in them that's going to help elevate them in some way in their life. So continue to give value, spend your energy giving the value that makes you feel good in your heart and your soul, and not for any ulterior motive.
I love that. We're going to close on that note. Thank you for joining us today on Real Life of the Entrepreneurs. This is CJC Boyd, and as usual, I'm Andra Annette. Have a great day.